Look at this cabochon. It's like a little micro garden inside a single stone. Anyway, let's wrap it. I think copper would go well with the nice reds and greens in there. This is 20 gauge. What I'm about to do, you could use 18 also. You know what, I really think 18 is better, and I can't find it in my bright copper, so we're gonna do antique copper, which is gonna be about as good, I think. So take 2 feet. Make a loop in the middle of the wire. Give it a twist. Hold it against the stone. You're gonna press it against the periphery of the stone, and it's gonna fight you. And you just keep pressing it, and don't worry about it fighting you. Don't be sad, don't be scared. Once you get it around like this, you fold one end over. You're using all your fingers, you're holding it tight. Fold one end over like that. Keep it tight and do your pretty pattern. What is your pretty pattern going to be? Whatever you want it to be. You can make a swirl, you can make a loop. There's no right, there's no wrong. You don't want to cover up too much of the stone if it's really pretty, but you want to enhance it by making cool designs that accentuate the beauty of the stone. And it'll keep on. See, I'm pressing tight everywhere. I'm pressing tight as I make these loops, pressing tight, trying to hold everything together, and it's fighting me, and that's okay. That's okay, because I know it just wants to be loved. It's just scared. The stone is scared. It's like a rescue stone. It was mistreated, and it doesn't understand love. And now we're going to show it love. All right, and then go like this. Come to the edge of your table so that you can get it around the loop there. Go all the way around once or twice to lock it in. Now we're going to go on to the back, pushing everything tight against the periphery again. As tight as you can. We're going to fold this guy around to the back side, and then it's going to want to fall off. You just hold it tight, and we're going to make a pattern on the back too. The back doesn't have to be as pretty, but making a pattern will make it easier for the thinner wire to grab on when we strengthen the whole thing. So I like to do kind of the same pattern on the opposite side, and that way if it happens to flip over while they're wearing it, it'll still look good from the back. And again, wrap it around, lock it around the top there. All right, now it's starting to hold itself. It's not really strong, it can slip out, but it'll hold itself a little better. You don't have to put as much pressure with every single finger. And now this one, notice now the front got a little moved out of how we wanted it to be. So just move it, kind of roll it back. You can use your fingers, you can use pliers. Whoops, you don't want to slip. I almost slipped right there. I did slip, but I didn't scratch it. Almost scratched it. That's what you don't want to do. But it's just kind of moldable. It's just kind of mold it the way you want. And we can finish scarfing these guys here. They're both going the same direction, so we'll take them at the same time, but you can take them separately if you need to. And we're just going to come around and around, just stack the scarf. I call it a scarf. And just stack up the wrap till you're about halfway up, or wherever you think it looks good. And then cut it about halfway across. Leave it, don't shoot it at yourself. Leave 2 little tabs. See, it's kind of made a bowl right there. You tuck the tabs into the bowl. First you kind of pinch them towards the middle of the bowl. And then once they're hovering over the middle, then you turn and you pinch them down into the bowl. Make sure they're tucked really tight, never to come out. Make sure there's nothing sticking out to scratch you. And now this guy, we're going to try to get these to stay on the edge, but we're not going to be crazy perfect about it. We're We're just gonna have fun doing this. Now we're gonna get really thin gauge. I've used 26, this is 28, it'll work just as good. 24 would be okay, but you really wanna stick really close to like a 26, 28 type gauge. And we're just going to use this to thread all around and lock everything in place. So, and we don't have to do it all in one strand, but we'll take about 16 inches to start. And I never know exactly how I'm gonna do this, each one is different, so I generally just start, I put the two ends together and I find the middle of the wire again. I always like to work from the middle of the wire. And I wrap the middle around this top, like that, to lock that in place. Maybe you can even go around twice if you feel like it's still a little bit wobbly. And now the idea is to keep these parts on the very edge as much as you can, not be crazy about it, and just crisscross the rest of the thin wire and just try to find places where it works. And if you can't find a good place, we're just gonna wrap it around the periphery like a diagonal wrap, come down until we can find a place to anchor it and then come across. So right now this isn't showing me any good spots, so I'm gonna start wrapping it like I just said. I'm gonna come through here. Whoops, it bounces a lot. It's like a little bit like sewing, but a little bit like totally different than sewing. So that came through there. I'm gonna pull it tight. See how it's kind of moving all over, but you pull it right through there. Put it under again. And if yours doesn't go under, you can kind of fiddle with the thicker wire to get it under. Try to get nice, smooth, like a nice smooth weave. See how it's starting to go diagonal, diagonal. Go under one more time. Now it's in a good spot where I can reach across and grab part of the design. So I'm going to come right here. And you could, let's put it through before I say the next part. You could wrap it around here again to lock it in, but I'm just going to come straight across, just once around and come straight across and go back to the outer perimeter again. See how I move the stone to get it out of the way? Because right now the stone is still really movable. There will come a time where that won't be possible as much. Let's pull that through. You got to move the wire where you want it, kind of, so it comes through on your terms. The wire will kind of slide all over the place. And from here, I want to go down, grab this loop. And what I'm going to do is basically just keep crisscrossing like this. I'm going to crisscross all the way down. And at the same time, you can start to come across like this. There's no right or wrong. Like sometimes I'm having a great time going across on the front. I might just switch to the back all of a sudden and just start grabbing this part. Eventually, between these two strands of wire, you just want the whole front crisscrossed with at least, I'd say, like 8 to 10 strands, 8 to 10 little branches, you could call them, and then 8 to 10 on the back. And then once you're done that, you just take whatever you have left, if you have enough left to get back up to the top, wrap it around the top again, it'll blend right into the scarf, and then curl up some little curly cues and shove them right in there. Maybe put a drop of E6000 to make sure they don't bounce out, and that's it, and you're done. If you run out, if you're down here and you're down to like a tiny bit of wire and you can't get it all the way up there, then I'll usually make a little curly cue, a little like swirl, and I'll take the swirl and I'll just shove it underneath one little part somewhere. All right, let's see. And I'll usually add a dab of glue for that too. All right, so this one, I'll keep going. All right, now it's all solid, crisscrossed, held in place tight. Nothing is moving. And take a tiny bit of E6000 and we have a whole bunch of little scrunchy ends shoved in there, and we're just gonna put a drop just so they never ever come out to scratch anybody. A couple of them popped out while I was trying to stick other ones in. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with adding a tiny bit of glue. Sometimes if you ever think you might want to unravel the stone and use it again, some people don't like to have any glue touch the stone, and that's fine. So this is just touching wire. And that's it. Now you can turn this whole piece a right angle like that, put the cord or chain through it, or you can just put jump rings. and put the quarter chain through it. Either way you want to do it. I didn't like how some of the thin wire was kind of bunching up there, so I unraveled it, and now I'm curling it again and tucking it in from the back. I usually like to tuck it in from the back because it shows less in the front. So just adding that little touch there and getting that little drop of E6000 off of there. As it's drying, if you mess with it too much, it makes like little white spider webs because it's like an industrial strength rubber cement. So you try to get it all done in like 15-20 seconds and then leave it, because if you keep messing with the glue as it's drying, again, it turns kind of white and weird. All right, that looks good. I tried turning it a quarter turn. I like it better like this, so I'm just gonna add the jump rings.